Yo, what's going on YouTube? So the June here. Now we're back at it with another video. Now, as you guys see in today's video, we finally have the raid guide out. So we're going to be talking about the distorted sound. So I'll be showcasing it, just showing you guys on how you're able to beat this raid and get through the puzzles and the mechanics for the raid overall. So before we get into the video, if you guys are going to enjoy it, you guys liked it and you found it helpful, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well, so there's a video and be notified when I upload the video. And most importantly, make sure you guys hit that like button. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
Damn, homie, they ain't ready for this. Scatter shot, I'm working, hurt 'em worse than slitting your wrist. Hit subscribe, smash like, ring the bell, stay tuned. Now without further ado, here's the duel of June. Yeah.
Alright, so before we get into the guide, I want to give you guys some pro tips for the raid before you go into it. So the first pro tip is the fact that flyers are very important for this raid, and you can actually get through certain mechanics and certain objectives for the puzzles in the raid easier with just flyers. So, you know, in general, so flyers are very easy mode, to be honest, when it comes to the raid with certain puzzles and mechanics, and it goes by way faster too. And the second thing, you're going to need Vibranium and Sonic just at least to have it on the backup, because there are certain enemies that can only be affected by Vibranium or Sonic. And if you guys don't have it, you're not really like doing nothing to them. You're still going to do damage, but just to overall have that status effect for Vibranium and Sonic is at least have it as a backup. So make sure you go farm Wakanda at least before you go into it and get some Sonic and Vibranium gear. And the third thing is communication. This raid is heavily dependent on communication. If you guys do not have communication at all, you will fail. You will fail regardless, no matter what. You have to have communication. So those are the three things that you really need to like just pay attention to in the pro tips when it comes to the raid. Now, overall, that is it. So let's get on to the official guide for discordant sound. Alrighty, so once you load into the raid, you will actually go follow a marking point that is on the screen. And once you get to this point, you fight claw enemies. And once you fight claw enemies, it will go into a cutscene of the Dora Milaje appearing on the scene. And once they appear, then it will go into another scene, another phase of you fighting claw enemies. And once you're done fighting the claw enemies, it will automatically go into the side boss, which is just basically a giant robot. The side boss is nothing special that you gotta really look out for. He has phases to him, so you can't like just really damage him straight out and just beat him. Once you do a certain amount of damage, then he will go invisible, then disappear, then reappear, just do damage. Then, you know, he just does the same thing over and over. And there's nothing you really have to look out for, because it's nothing really crazy. Just damage him and kill him. Like, it's nothing crazy. So once you get past this mini boss, then this is when you first get into the mechanics and just the raid overall. Now, once you get into this, you're basically in a room where there's a sound barrier covering where you have to actually go. Now, you see there's a console in the middle, and there are like nodes with a Black Panther symbol that you have to capture. There's 3 of them. There's 2 on the right side, and there's 1 on the left side next to the panel in the middle. Now, 2 people are gonna have to go to the right side. Now, there's 1 on the far right, and there's 1 close to the sound barrier on the bottom right, on the left side. So you have to get 2 people have to get on those, and 1 have to get on the left side near the console. Now, you have to stay on this console till it turns purple. Now, the person in the middle is basically doing crowd control. You basically just doing crowd control, just getting enemies down. And once everyone else's like consoles turn purple, then the person in the middle can actually hit the console. And then once you hit all 3 of the consoles, it will bring up a shield, basically protecting you from the one-shot mechanic. And everyone can actually, the ones on the nose, once it turns purple, you could get off of it and go to the middle. And basically, once the shield is up, you sit there and wait for the one-shot mechanic to go off. Then once it's done, you basically rinse and repeat. Now, it is very simple. It's probably the most simple mechanic that we have in the raid so far compared to the other stuff that we're going to get onto later. But you just rinse and repeat that 3 times, then you will go on to the next phase for the for the raid itself. But if you guys weren't able to basically get the 3 nodes to purple and get into the shield in the middle into the consoles, you can actually survive the one shot. Now, if you go to the right side by the stairs next to the console, you will see there's a bit of shade that you can sit behind. It's like a big area that you can sit. It can fit 4 people. you can sit behind that and you can actually survive the one shot and basically rinse and repeat the mechanics so you can get it right this time. So that is basically on how you survive it. Because once I first ran it, I was very confused. I was like, how do I survive this? Because, you know, I'm just getting one shot automatically. We have to restart and everything. So that is on how you're able to survive the one shot when it comes to in that room for the little mechanic with the nose turning purple and the one in the middle. So that is the first part explained right there. Now we're going to get on to the second one. Now the second one basically has two sides you can actually go to. We have the left side with the platforming and the right side when it comes to puzzles with a door. So we're going to start off with the one on the left side first, then we're going to get onto the one on the right side, you know, once we finish explaining everything else. But without further ado, let's get on to how you can actually get to the left side and actually get past the platforming and get to the next phase of the raid itself. Alright, so if you chose the left side, there are two different platform mechanics that you actually have to go through until you actually are able to get to the next phase of the left side of the raid. Now, let's get into this. So, if you guys are flyers, this is why I said flyers are very important. If you guys are flyers, you can actually skip this. You can skip this whole platforming mechanic and go on and defeat the claw enemies and go into the next phase of the raid. But if you guys are not flyers, this is basically how you do it. So to make this more simpler, you know, to explain it wise, I will be giving players numbers. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So of course there are two nodes that people have to stand on, one that everyone has access to and one that is across the room that nobody has access to yet. So for player 1 stands on the node, wait till the node gets full, then it will spawn a platform that player 2 actually has to jump on and get to the middle. And once player 2 is on the middle platform, there is like a little button he can stand on and it will spawn a wall running mechanic to the players that is on 1, 3, and 4. So for this, 1, 3, and 4 needs to wall run and get to the other side of with the node where the node is located and get on that node. And once it's full, player 2, it will spawn an actual platform for player 2 to get over to players 1, 3, and 4. And that is the first part of the mechanic that you actually have to go through. And one thing that I actually have to explain for player 2, there is a great risk of you dying because when Klaw does his one-shot mechanic, which he can actually still do while you guys are doing the platforming, once you're in the middle, if you know it activates as like this Sonic type of one-shot thing where it will kill you, and people they will have to get you. Of course, they can still get you easily since they are on the other side and they spawn the platform. But you know, just watch out for that. But when it comes to that. So once you're past this first part of the platforming, the second part is where, you know, things get a little complicated, but not really complicated. So for players 3 and 4, you stand in the middle, and players 1 and 2, player 1 goes on the left side and player 2 goes on the right side. As you guys see, there is a wall running platform that you actually have to go through and the nodes on the left and right side. So once you guys are on the nodes for the left and right side, it will spawn 3 or 4 platforms for player 3 and 4 to actually go on top of and get to the middle platform. And it's the same thing from the last platform. You stand on the middle, there's a button that you stand on, and it will spawn a wall running platform for players 1 and 2 to actually get through, and you'll actually be able to get to the other side of the raid. So once player 1 and 2 are across and you know they're situated and they're on the other side, players 3 and 4 can get off of that platform and just basically jump and get to the other side, and you basically be regrouping. And once you guys are regrouping, you defeat all the enemies that spawn, and then after that there are consoles on the top for the left and right side. You have to do this at the same time to actually get through it, and then once you actually get through it, then you will be on the next phase of the raid itself that I will be going into with Shuri. You actually have to, it's a lot of mechanics I have to explain, so we're going to do a whole nother section when it comes to that one. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so the room that you're in right now is the last room on the left side. Now for this room, you have to cleanse the corrupted vibranium. Now to do this, there's a certain mechanic that you have to follow to do this. So to make it more simpler and easier for the video, I will be labeling the heroes, or the I guess you could say characters. So for player 1, whoever has the fastest traversal will be player 1. Player 2, 3, and 4 will actually be the ones sitting on the nodes. So just for this video, player 2 will be on the top node, player 3 and 4 will be on the bottom left and right node. For the bottom left and right node, there's a box that's next to the nodes. Since you guys can get hit by the claw one shot, you'll be able to sit next to that one and you'll be able to stay alive from the one shot, which is very nice to have. But since you guys are on the nodes, the doors will open. Now you have to call out which door opens first. Then you call out, say for instance, the top door opens. You say top door open, you know, for player 1. Then player 1 goes through that door and goes gets the anti-metal. Now the anti-metal is something that is very hard to miss. Is out there, to be honest. It sticks out. It's basically a vibranium looking metal that is floating in midair, that is gold next to a console. So once you pick that up, you basically go back to where you came out of. If the door is still open, you have to just call out if your door is still open or not. And once player 1 is back in the room, for this instance, we're going to go to the top node. You guys will see it on the video right now. There are 3 corrupted vibranium that is very near us. There's one on the top and there's one on the wall for the left and right side. Not the one on the far right. They're like right next to each other when it comes to one on the top and the left wall and the right wall. So we do damage. Everyone has to be together to get the anti-metal buff from player 1. You do damage to the corrupted vibranium till it gets to like a low level and you see like it fading away. But if you stop doing damage, it will regenerate very fast and you keep doing damage to it. So player 1, once it's low, player 1 continuously does damage to it so it can stay low, and player 2, 3, and 4 will focus on the next one on the left side and do damage to that one. And when that one is low, basically player 2 will keep doing damage, and 3 and 4, depending on your damage when it comes to range, you can focus on the third one on the right side and do damage to that one and just wait till it gets low and just keep doing damage to it till it's low. And of course player 1 will able to see when anti-metal is going to run out, since he was the one that grabbed it first. And depending on once it runs out, once it hits 0 with anti-metal, Shuri would do the mechanic where she cleanses the corrupted vibranium, and once it cleanses, if you have the health low enough on the corrupted vibranium, it will be gone. And basically you just rinse and repeat and do the same thing over and over. Now the thing is, I would advise you guys, once you do the mechanic defeating the corrupted vibranium, defeat the ads that spawn after each time you do it, because if you guys don't, the enemies will attack the cluster, the anti-cluster, which Shuri is sending out anti-metal to us. And if that explodes, it will basically wipe the whole group and you have to restart all over again when it comes to the room itself. So that's basically how it works. So hopefully I explained it well enough for you guys. As I stated, if you guys have some good range damage, you can easily get about either 5 corrupted vibraniums or 4 all in one phase when it comes to anti-metal once you first get it. So yeah, it really depends on your range damage when it comes to this one. But yeah, this as the the left side complete. Once you complete this left side, you will be teleported back in the middle where you started, where you see the giant claw, and you'll be able to go on the right side. So I will be explaining the right side mechanic. Now this has to deal with doors and panels that you have to stand on. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so this part will be evolving the right side. Now, of course, this involves door unlock codes. So you have to follow the nodes and just basically follow the code to unlock doors. So to do this, I will be showing an infographic for the second part. And shout out to Fake Walker for this infographic. I probably wouldn't know what to do if I did not have this. But yeah, for the first part, it's basically like an introduction of the mechanic itself when it comes to the door unlock code. So I can basically explain that because it's very simple. So for the first part, someone stands on the first node. Now these nodes go by numbers. There's 8 in the second part, there's 4 in the first part. So for the first one, someone stands on the first node, and once someone is on the first node, it will open up a door. Now the 3 teammates go through that door, and the one that's on the first node stays on that node until someone gets on the second node, which will hold the door open for the first person, and you will go through, and all teammates are all in the room together. And once all the teammates are in the room together, someone stays on the second node and someone gets on the third node, and it will open up another door, which someone can get on the fourth node, which will actually keep the door open for the teammates inside of there, which you can actually go through. And that is the first part explained right there. It's basically, like as I stated, it's an introduction on how the mechanic will work itself. Now the second part, that's where the infographic comes in handy. So if my explanation is not well enough for you guys at all, I apologize, but the infographic is right here, so you can basically just copy this infographic, copy the node numbers, because these nodes go by numbers, and you will complete this puzzle when it comes to the door unlock. So if we're going to follow the infographic, of course, when you get to the second part, someone stands on the first node. Then when the first node is stood on, it's going to open up the first door, which is called door A. And once door A is open, three of your teammates go through, and someone gets on the second node to let the person on the first node in. Then once someone is on the second node is going to be the most important, because you're going to have to stay on there for a good while for this puzzle to work. So once someone is on the second one, stays on that one, someone gets on the third node, and once that door opens, then the two teammates will go through and get on the fourth and fifth node. Now this is the thing, this is where it changes up. So the person that was on the third node will now move to the fourth one. Now, and the person that was on the fourth node will now move to the sixth node, and the person that was on the fifth one now moves to the seventh one. Now this is how it's going to change up. So once you're on 4, 6, and 7, then when it comes to the last door, the person that was on 4 now moves to 6. Then the person that was on 7, the person that was on 6 now moves to 7, and the person that was on 2 now goes to 8. And while you're holding 8, you have to let the person that's on the door on the fourth one and the sixth one and 7 go through. Then everyone will be able to go through, and you'll be able to complete the door puzzle overall. So that is basically the way on how it goes. I promise you, it's going to be confusing at first. Just by saying it is not going to help you at all. You have to follow the infographic itself to basically get a clear explanation on how it really works. But honestly, the infographic did help me out when it comes to me like just trying to complete the raids. Now I do know it, by heart now when it comes when I'm running the raid. So yeah, that is on how it works with the puzzle. And once you get past the door puzzle, you basically defeat claw enemies. Then you have to basically do the same thing like how you did on the left side before you went into the room with Shuri. You have to hit the nodes, not the nodes, like a little console at the same time with 4 of your teammates. Then you will progress into the next phase, which is the world, the Forger, with the Vibranium Forge, I think it's called. Now, this is the whole nother beast, which is very easy to explain since I've done it multiple times and know how it works. So I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my abilities when it comes to redoing the Forge. Now, so let's get into it. All right, so this is the part of the raid where you have to restore the Forge. Now, this is where flyers really come in handy. As I stated in the platform mechanic, flyers are really good for this one because you could just totally skip it. And this one is another example of flyers being very, very helpful when it comes to this one. So with the Forge, there are 3 different jobs that you have to do. There's someone that has to stay on the bottom of the Forge calling out the symbols. There's someone that has to be on top that actually has to build up the energy for that symbol. And there's the third one where someone has to defeat the corrupted vibranium, holding back the energy. The symbols from going into the Forge. So basically, for the person at the bottom, they have to stand their ground. It could be either a Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, or someone that could be tanky enough to tank all the enemies, because the enemies will come for you. So be on the lookout for that one, for the people that's going to go on the bottom. And for the person up top, all they have to do is just hear out the call outs for the symbol. We're going to use an example. Since all the symbols have code names, we have fish, down, we got a 4, H, and trident. If someone calls H, you will see the symbol with H, and you see you have to do damage to it and build up the energy. And once you build up the energy, the third person, which could be a flyer or someone it has a range like a Hawkeye, something like that, they have to stay on the outskirts of the Forge, and then there will be a pop out of energy that you have to defeat the corrupted vibranium, which is holding back the Forge from being complete. And once you defeat that corrupted vibranium, it will be complete. It will light up blue instead of red. And then basically you have to repeat that same system until you get all the systems are full of energy and the Forge is restored. So that's basically how it works. Just to show you guys not some cheese method, but some more effective methods for this one, I would advise having a Thor doing the third job, getting the corrupted vibranium out the way so he could God blast it. He could use his hammer for the AoE damage. Same thing for Iron Man. You can do the same thing for Iron Man when it comes to that one. Spider-Man, I would say I don't know. He's more of the person that can stay at the bottom and defend it. If I had to choose someone that can stand up top, it could be anybody, because anybody can just do it. All you have to do is just do melee combos and defeat it. And another person I could add into defeating the corrupted vibranium that's holding back the Forge is Hawkeye. The reason why I say this, because if you're Hawkeye, you can land on top of the corrupted vibranium that is holding it back, and you can do the suspension arrow. I think that's the heavy combo finisher, and it will affect all of them at once. If you probably get off a good 1 or 2, you can defeat that one in that one phase when it comes to that part. And it's amazing. And also, you also have to watch out for the one-shot mechanic from Klaw and hide behind obstacles, because you can die from the one-shot. Of course, they got it set up where you can revive yourself if you permanently die, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that is how the world, not the world, I keep saying World Forger. That's how the Forger section works when it comes to the raid itself. It's very simple and easy. It may look hard at first when you're first running it, but once you get a grasp on how it works, it is very, very easy. So as I stated, there are 3 jobs. One person up top defeating the orb with the symbol on it for the energy. One person at the bottom calling out the symbols, standing in the middle of the node, and third person is defeating the corrupted vibranium, holding it back from being completed. So yeah, that's how it works. Let's get on to the next phase. Alrighty, so for this phase, it's very simple and it's very easy, to be honest. It will go into a cutscene, basically with Zawavari locking up Klaw, just having them locked in position. And once it goes to once the cutscene is done with, it goes into the one-shot mechanic. But Zawavari will summon like some little stones that you can hide behind, and you'll be able to block, stay alive from the one-shot mechanic. Now later on in this, some of them will become corrupted, but he will summon more so you can actually stay behind and just stay alive from the one shot. But you guys see in the middle, you see it's like a little glow essence type thing. Now this is for the enemies that spawn, that Klaw spawns. It's called the Echoes. They got the Horn Echo, and they got the Spider Echoes. Now you have to defeat them inside the middle of the platform that is glowing, and the reason why is because you get extra damage to do damage on Klaw once you stack it up with the enemies with the Echoes. Now, once Zawavari, he has a little circle on his, if you see his character, he has a circle. Once that circle gets full, then that's when you start your first damage phase on Klaw. Basically, you start hitting his eye. Now, the thing is, I'll let you guys know this now. I wouldn't say pop everything, but don't go too crazy, because the phase itself is short depending on how much damage you have. So it really depends on how much damage you have when it comes to doing damage wise. So if you got 4 Thors, 3 Thors, and a Black Widow or something going crazy, you will probably get close to one phasing it, because there are some instances where I've seen people one phase it legit. So if you can stack your damage up with getting the Echoes in the middle, you can do some insane stuff with that. But basically, after you do that phase, if you don't one phase it, or 2 phases, not one phase, if you don't one phase it, he will actually go into the one-shot mechanic, and you basically stand behind the pillars, rinse and repeat, get the Echoes in, try to get that damage boost. And when Zawavari brings down Klaw, get him down to low health. Basically, you're going to eventually get there. Then that's when it will go into the final phase when it comes to the raid itself for Klaw. Now, the final phase is a lot to talk about, so that is, the one little phase that we went through with Zawavari. It's pretty quick and easy, pretty self-explanatory. But this is the last phase, which needs a lot of communication with this one. So let's get into this. Alrighty, so with the final boss for Klaw, I'll be showing / telling you guys on how his mechanics work, so you guys can actually beat him and beat the raid. So once you first go in, do not pop your abilities or nothing, because when you see Klaw and you try to fight him, he's going to automatically go into his giant form. Now, right now, currently as I'm recording this video, his giant form, once he does his beam, just automatically one-shots people without showing indication. So to avoid this from wiping just from a random one-shot where you can't even see it, 2 people stand in the middle. One person stands on the top left side of the platform, and someone stands on the top right of the platform. So it could be divided. So if he shoots his death beam in the middle, fortunately, you're probably going to end up dying in the middle. But you got two people on the top and left side that could come down and either one could come and get you and revive you, and you can survive that mechanic. Now, once that mechanic is done, he will go in the middle. So the people that are in the middle need to move and go to the top, left, or right side, depending on which side you're on. And he's going to put his sonic gun on the ground and do waves, like do sonic waves. Now, you have to dodge these. Now, luckily, I found this out last night as we're recording this video, that if you do a perfect dodge on the waves, you could be immune to it and you will not get damaged. And there's another way you could cheese it. If you shoot at his sonic gun, you could do some early stun damage to him, which is very needed, which I'm about to get into next. So once that mechanic is done with doing the sonic waves, Klaw will actually go back into his regular form, as a regular person, but a little bit taller. And you will be able to do stun damage to him. Do not pop no abilities. Well, you can pop some abilities that do stun damage, a lot of stun damage. But do not go in there thinking you're about to just do 1,000,000 damage, just go crazy and just, try to do as much damage as you can. Because you have to go and do stun damage first. Now, this is a part that I kind of really don't like when it comes to this, because you just sitting there just doing it till you stack up the stun meter. But that is how you do it. Now, some easy ways I found out how you can do some easy stun meter for certain characters. So for Kamala, I found this out last night. Shout out to Peter. When it comes to this, because I didn't even know. If you go in Biggin and you do the light combo finisher for Kamala, you actually do a crazy amount of stun damage. It's insane on how much stun damage you can do with the light combo finisher when you're in Biggin on Klaw. And for Hawkeye, you could do the heavy combo finisher with the suppression arrow, and that's very nice as well. For Thor, you could do the spinning hammer move. That is very good. For Hulk, it's pretty much whatever. You could do the ground pound. You could do the light combo finishers because they do this. They do some good amount of stun damage. Now, I'm not sure for the other characters because I wasn't able to run on them. Well, I did run on Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is like a support character. So, alright, so this is Future June talking right here. So I was able to run the raid a few times as I'm recording this video, and I ran it with Sad-Eye. Shout out to homie. And he actually came in there with Iron Man. And if you guys use Iron Man's lasers, and as you guys know, the lasers does a good amount of stun damage as well. And as you know, with lasers, you can put up your energy barrier and just keep spamming your lasers. So that is a good stun damage right there. And also, when you go on your Hulkbuster and you got to select it for the EMP does crazy amount of stun damage as well. It's the same as Kamala. When you do the light combo finish, it's about the same. So those are the little cheese method that I found out while running a raid. So that's for Iron Man. I want to add that in there. So yeah, let's get back to the video. I was just doing whatever with him, to be honest. But those are some of the little tips I could give y'all when it comes to doing the stun damage. Now, when it comes to when his stun meter is full, one person that is not a really good at doing damage needs to if you want to do it efficiently. When his stun meter is very close to being full, go on the top, either the top left or right, and it will go back to the regular environment once the stun meter is full. And you have to go to the back, and once you go to the back, there will be a little room you got to sit in. And remember the anti-metal from when you was in the room with Shuri? This will come back. So you have to stay in that room, and you have to stay in that room and survive. There will be enemies that will come for you, and you have to stay alive in that room while the people that are outside with Klaw, once the anti-metal is provided to the other teammates, once you're in that room, the teammates outside fighting Klaw will actually start to be able to do damage. So you can let loose on them, pop everything. And of course, once you do that, he's going to get to a certain amount of damage he could take, and then he will go back and do the same phases over again, where he goes to his giant claw phase and he shoots his death beam. As I stated, people go in the middle, two people in the middle, one up on the top left and one on the top right, to just max out on the survivability or on your teammates when it comes to that. Now, there's another mechanic that comes along when he does this. He spawns red orbs. Now, these red orbs spawns ads. Now, you have to defeat these red orbs before they spawn, because if you don't, it's going to spawn echoes. Now, echoes cannot be hit with other status effects. The only status effect that affects Echoes is Vibranium and Sonic. So if you do not have Vibranium or Sonic at all, you're going to be just doing regular damage to them. Now the thing is, with Vibranium, you do extra damage when the Vibranium status effect is active, and with Sonic, of course, you know, you do a lot of more stun when it comes to that. So it's very, as I said in the beginning, having Vibranium and Sonic is going to be pretty nice for when it comes to this. So yeah, basically that's pretty much it to it. Just once he does his giant death beam, basically he goes and does the same thing with the Sonic waves. He goes in the middle in the giant form, put his weapon in the middle, does the Sonic waves, go in his little form, you do stun damage. Sometimes he spawns the red orb, so you got to destroy that. And once the stun meter full, the person that does less damage goes to the back, stay there, let the teammates in the front do damage to Klaw, and then you will eventually beat Klaw and you will finish the raid. Now that is basically it when it comes to just the raid itself, and how Klaw boss battle works, to be honest. It's pretty simple. I just hope that they fix that that random one shot that he does to people, because it really kills the fun. It really does. But yeah, that is really it. We've been going on for about 30 minutes now when it comes to recording this, so hopefully this is like explained well enough for you guys when it comes to the raid. If not, you come into my Twitch, I will probably 9 times out of 10 when you see me, I'm doing a raid, so I can, you know, try to explain it to you guys, or just try to help out the best of my ability. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about the raid. Let me know if this guide helped you at all. Also, can you give me some feedback and criticism when it comes to how I did my raid guide? If there are some things I messed up on, or some things I didn't explain well enough, please let me know, because this is my first time ever doing a raid guide. So, you know, I just wanted to see on what can I do to improve and do better. But yeah, that is the end of today's video. Hopefully this raid helped you guys out. It's Lejeune here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day. Peace.